Evening. Welcome to another episode of No Longer Black in Silence. I'm your host, Lion Talk P.
And I'm your co-host, Shadana Cheney.
We have, a computer engineer in the building this evening. You know what I'm saying? Our guest for this evening. Her name is Shay. How are you doing today, Shay?
I'm doing wonderful. How are y'all?
We're alive.
We're doing good.
Yeah, it's a good Friday. You know what I'm saying? So, Shay, where are you from?
I'm from Houston, Texas.
What part of the
Born
H
and
you
raised. Horn Clark, Southwest Side.
Southwest. Shout out to that West. Clark, you know what I'm saying?
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Shay.
Oh, that's a hard question.
It's a lot.
That's one of those vain questions where you have to just sit and talk about yourself.
Yeah, but this one of the moments you get to do it and be
I
proud.
get to shine.
Yeah.
Get to shine.
Don't be silent.
Well, my profession is an engineer by way of technology consulting. I'm a bit of an introvert. I'm not really a outgoing, really talkative type of person.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
A lot of people don't. I'm kind of like a introvert, extrovert.
I got you.
Yeah.
In between.
I got a bit of a best of both worlds. But consulting brings that out of me, so I can't be shy and quiet while doing that.
Let's not jump too far. Let's talk about growing up in this H-town on this Southwest. You know what I'm saying? What high school you went to?
I went to Magnolia High School.
Magnolia?
Yeah, it's all
Where
the way
is
in
that?
the north.
Never heard of that.
It's in Magnolia.
Texas?
Yeah,
like
Magnolia,
near Prairie View?
Texas.
How you ended up at Magnolia High School and you know?
From Houston?
Yeah.
So eventually around the 5th grade, my mom was like, she's growing up. It's time to get out the hood.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So we moved up to Magnolia. One of my brothers came with, one stayed behind. Moved up north and stayed there never looked back.
Did y'all have like the house with the acres in the backyard?
Not really acres. I think we had maybe like a half on the side.
A half?
Yeah.
But y'all was from the city, so y'all ain't grow nothing, huh?
No, my mom is a green thumb, so we grew everything. Yeah. So right
She
now
grew
she
grass?
has probably not.
Probably
not in Magnolia.
Not
Maybe
in
up in
yeah,
Centerville.
definitely.
Yeah, we got property in Centerville, so she may have some up there too.
What's Centerville then?
It's like Huntsville. It's far up
Okay,
north.
I think I know where that's at. I know where Huntsville at.
I know where Huntsville is.
So you say you was an introvert. Were you involved in any extracurricular activities in high school? Or?
Yeah, I did student council, majority choir, and started the step team because, of course, Magnolia
Shay
was
stepping?
completely boring. So
She brought some style.
yeah, I had to bring a little blackness, a little flavor to
What you
it.
singing in the choir? Because, I'm a tenor myself. You know what I'm saying?
I think at the time I was a soprano.
Okay.
Oh, you got the high
Diana
note,
Ross. Got a Diana Ross in the building.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
What happened?
She just need a little practice.
Got deeper and stopped singing, and I think the choir director wanted me to join this special choir, and I was like, nah, I can't. I don't even like you that much.
If you don't train it, you'll lose it.
Yeah, and I definitely lost it. So now it's singing in the shower and singing in the car only.
You still can carry a note?
I can hum.
You really didn't lost it.
Yeah, I lost.
We ain't gonna put on blast then.
Please
Well,
don't. Please.
so like following high school, secondary education, like was it always an idea in your home that you was going to college?
Yeah, it was no other way. So my mom is one of I push education. That's the only route you going. You're going to college. I had no choice.
So how did you decide on the school?
So at an early age, I showed interest in technology. I've always been good in math, always been good in science. Yeah, little geek, little nerd.
Right.
And my mom picked up on it really quick. So I was never the type of child to want Barbie dolls or play dress up or things like that. She was like, what do you want for Christmas? Oh, I want a camcorder. I want a computer.
I got you.
I want stuff that I can take apart, break it, and figure out how to put it back together. So eventually she was like, you should look into computer engineering, since you like computers, and looked up a couple of programs. I initially wanted to go to school in Louisiana, and she was just like not having it. She was
Why?
like,
What's wrong with the L town? The boot.
I think she just wanted me close to home.
Oh, okay.
So
The out-of-state fees was wrong.
Because it was definitely coming out of pocket.
You're right.
So she.
What school was you thinking about in Louisiana though?
LSU.
LSU. I can see you at LSU.
The BR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you at LSU.
And I think it was more so just because it was a popular school.
At that particular
Yeah.
time. Yeah, most definitely. My whole family went to Southern.
Southern is popular. Southeastern is pretty popular.
Southeastern, yeah.
And
I was
LSU.
like the first person to kind of go somewhere else up.
Yeah.
Different.
And I even looked at Tulane.
Tulane, the wave.
Yeah.
You'll be right down the street from the jail. You don't want to go there.
That was before I even knew like schools specialized in different programs and stuff. So then I had to kind of refocus. Like, okay, you can't look at just popular schools where all the black people at, because that was really my main focus. It was I want to be where some black people at, where I can be around my people.
Was that your understanding after being in Magnolia?
Yeah,
you really wanted to.
I had to get away from it because majority of the people I went to school with wanted to go to Texas A&M and UT, and I was like, the last thing I need is a repeat of what I went through in high school, because I'm gonna end up in jail.
Did you experience any racism in Magnolia?
Always.
A lot of
I've
racism.
had tires slashed.
Oh wow!
All kinds of stuff.
Just for being black.
Just from being black. Majority of the time, I was the only black girl in the class.
Oh.
That sounds like you were being like prepared.
Oh yeah.
You know, for a greater world. You know, because that was what, give or take, 11, 10 years ago. Before social media caught on to the whole racism.
Right.
You know,
start taping everything, putting everything
exactly.
on tape.
Yeah, we had nothing but AOL and chat rooms.
Yeah, it would have took too long to upload a picture.
Right, had MySpace too.
Right, MySpace.
You had
Black
MySpace.
Planet.
Yeah,
that was it.
I got you. What school you settled on?
I ended up going to Prairie View.
PV, you know.
PV.
My mom was not having that either.
Why she didn't want you at PV?
Because she went to TSU and PV for a period of time.
Oh, your mom had been drunk before. Huh?
Yeah.
She didn't been to too many parties.
She didn't have a little party in her life, so she was like, "Oh no, you go to PV, I'm not paying for it." And I was like, "Well,
don't do it, Mama."
Yeah,
so I have a question. So in high school, did you have any mentors?
No, not.
It's probably hard to have mentors in a
right.
a place of not very.
But maybe somebody
diversity.
in a neighborhood or somebody in a family helping you
on
your career.
That mean the parents kind of feel a certain way too. You know what I mean?
My biggest mentor has always been my mother
okay.
and her sisters and the people that I grew up around. My cousins being that example and things like that. But my family is not big on. We don't come from a background of educated people. So in my immediate family, I was the first person to graduate from college. Yeah, my brother went to college, but
he ain't quite big.
No, he didn't.
You sound
make
like
it.
me. My oldest brother went. Look, it was so crazy. He had it lined up for him. My brother went to Southern. My uncle graduated from Southern. My uncle graduated out of engineering. My brother was taking up engineering, took the same professors. My uncle still come to Southern to recruit, and he still didn't finish. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ended up doing the nightclub thing and stuff, but, like, he had it lined up for him. You know what I'm saying? So I was, like, the next one out the nest, and it was kind of like, I just watched him fall on his face.
Yeah.
So I gotta do it.
I had two examples of that. So my oldest brother is the one who went to college. The middle child, it was like, school is not for me. He was done in high school. And then my mom looked at me like, look, you got to make it.
Yeah.
Last hope.
Last hope.
Last hope. So, like, PV, you know what I'm saying? So, PV is not very far from Magnolia, right?
Not at all.
So, did you visit the school before you decided to attend?
No, not at all.
You just knew it was a black
knew.
school.
I was like, it's a black school. They got a good engineering program. I'm going. I'm applying. And it was actually the only school I applied for. My mom was pissed.
Wow.
Yeah, because I initially decided, since you won't let me go to Louisiana, I'll go to U of H. And she was all for it.
So did your mom, looking at just the narrative of her taking you from the Southwest and bringing you out, did she believe that you will be afforded more opportunities in places of, seemingly more populated by white people? Yeah.
And it was more so just the difference in school systems.
Gotcha.
So being in HISD and then going out to Magnolia, it was a big difference.
Definitely.
So when I got there, luckily I got there early in the 5th grade. So I wasn't too far behind.
To catch that curve.
Yeah, to catch that curve. And then once I got to, junior high, it was a clear difference.
Oh,
like the
yeah.
things that I'm learning, my cousins weren't learning yet.
Yeah.
And I'm far ahead of y'all.
I feel like it's like that now where people show favoritism towards school. When I tell people I went to a HBCU, they kind of look down on it. Even like African Americans, and it's kind of sour. They see white schools as the superior schools because they're tier 1. But they got to realize the reason why HBCUs were started, it was because African Americans couldn't integrate with white people back then.
Exactly.
So these schools were started for us. Yeah, now you have the opportunity to go to a tier 1 school, but don't look down on the HBCU. And also, we don't get as much funding as those schools do.
Right.
Yeah,
my
so-
thing is, you learn the exact same things.
You do.
Your
You learn
textbooks
the
are
exact-
the same as my textbooks.
That's what I was
Exactly.
about to hint. The reason why I don't play too much in that, I think, given the environment I came up in, I look at it like it levels the playing field. It put me in the game.
Exactly.
So regardless if you think you went to Yale, Harvard, or whatever, like in that room, you know what I'm saying, people may have a different perception and think you have an edge, but I made it to the room. I don't think they quite understand that part of it.
Exactly.
I was never supposed to be in the room.
Right.
So the fact that you gave me the opportunity to be in the room, I'm going to separate us just between the manner in which I handle work in this room.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So at least it levels the playing field, and that's why I don't knock it, you know, and it's weird that people knock just the subtle opportunities that we have been given. That's why we don't have so many of them, because people don't value them enough.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They think white is right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They seem to have it all figured out. They got it all figured out because they got all y'all over there. If you had the same minds over here, we would look a lot better off. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into this whole college experience at PV. So what year
Lord.
did you enter school?
2005.
2005. So all right, now you coming out of Magnolia. You know what I'm saying? And you about to go into Prairie View.
Yeah.
And this is PV when it was PV.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
so was it like
heart.
was it a
Culture
shock?
culture
to
shock.
you?
No, I don't. I
You
don't
was
even
ready to
remember.
twerk,
I was
huh?
I was ready to get.
Some young jock is going down. Huh?
I was so ready to get away from my parents and be on my
I
own.
got
Like
you.
I was in orientation, and I think the president said something like, parents, it's time to cut that cord and let go of your kids. I was the only one in the room clapping.
So you always been that person, huh?
I've always
I got you.
clowning.
You're right.
Yeah.
You know what you feel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So computer engineering, is that normally a degree feel like people always say engineering is difficult?
It is.
Yeah, I
It
think
is.
I think you have to have a different type of mindset to go into engineering.
You do. You have to be focused. You
I
have
got
to
you.
know time management. It's
It's a whole different type of person, because my uncle, he's an engineer. Like I said, my brother has the mind for it, but I've never, like, when we was growing up, my mama didn't call me to like hook up stuff to the television, because
Yeah.
it was gonna take me 40 minutes, and I still was gonna be looking at her like, my brother, you called him in 2 minutes, boom, boom, boom. He got your tape thing recording, he's
Yep.
dubbing the tape, and you watching wrestling or whatever. I never had that
was
mind
me.
for it.
That was
And
absolutely me.
engineering is also male dominant.
It is.
So-
it's very male dominant.
So in your workplace, are you like the only female, or you the minority?
Wait, you're the only what?
I'm majority of the time I am the only female on my
female.
projects, and then the only black female on my projects.
So
Yeah,
how is that
double
for
whammy.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely a double whammy. And engineering is dominated a lot by Indian males.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
They have
That's
a
a
different
com-
cultural identity towards women and stuff
absolutely,
like that.
Yeah.
they definitely look down upon women. Like, you're not on the same playing field as I am.
Yeah.
And-
Maybe in their culture, maybe. But I always say black people going to excel.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Maybe in your culture, you may treat women like second-hand citizens, but women have been what's carried us.
Right.
You know
And
what
they
I'm
do
saying?
treat them like second-class citizens, but they're not. They just
Right.
don't
Yeah.
have that opportunity to shine
Right.
because you suppress them so much.
Right. You don't
Yeah.
know what they can do because you
Right.
don't allow them to do much of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so more power to those women in those different cultural and ethnic parts of the world, and even in certain segments of America, you know what I'm saying? But as far as my sisters, man, like, y'all keep shining.
Always.
Most
We don't have no
educated group
choice.
of people in the world
Shining,
right
yeah.
now.
That's my
So
song.
like on these
Yeah.
projects, like, what do you do exactly? Like, you say you are a technology consultant.
Yes. So,
Are you
in
like
a
the person like
nutshell,
identity theft? Like, help me out. What you doing?
no. So the best way to it's two ways to explain it. It's I'm a problem solver.
Uh-huh.
So 9 times out of 10, our clients come to us and they say, I have a problem, whether it be with my business, my processes, I want to upgrade my technology. I want to completely change my infrastructure. They bring together, they bring out like a strategist to say, you know, this is the best way to solve your problem.
Gotcha.
And then once that strategist comes out and the client agrees, you know, that's the best strategy that we go with, then they bring a team of consultants to actually implement
whatever
that
suggested.
So
do
solution.
you build like as far as software or write programming or something like that to that nature?
Before I got to consulting, I did. I was a SharePoint developer for Lockheed Martin.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Military money.
Little NASA,
Little
Johnson
NASA.
Space Center type of money.
They're actually a nice stock to have, and with Trump as president, it might actually go up.
You think so?
He got that billion. He proposing what a new military, fund. You know what I'm saying? As far as putting more money into military spending.
Yeah.
So I think it all.
That may
down.
be more on like the Boeing side,
Yeah, the
but
Boeing
like Lockheed
side,
Martin and NASA, I think he's gone. He's like most Republican presidents. They cut that budget because they don't believe in like that space exploration.
But he's a weird Republican though.
He is.
Because he has to have some sense of imagination. He made $10 billion. You know what I'm saying? In some manner or another.
Right.
So we'll see how that plays out. You know what I'm saying?
So with your current employer, is this someone you see yourself retiring with?
Absolutely not. I'm actually trying to quit.
Wait,
so trying to quit. Hold on.
Got some work intervention going on right now. You know what I'm saying?
So are you implementing something right now? Do you have some form of community service going on? Or are you starting your own organization, your own business? Or
Yeah, I've always been, I can't keep still. So,
right.
And then I'll consider myself to be a jack of all trades type of person. So I do hair. I will start my own clothing business right now. I want to dabble in real estate, but I also know, I need a steady paycheck to keep
You
that
chose
going.
the wrong life. You was like a drug dealer's dream.
People keep saying like you were Jamaican in your previous life.
You was a drug dealer's wife in your past life. Go to the house. She got clothes in the back, hair up front,
Candy lady, all that.
Yeah, all that frozen cup. You hear me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like when you say quit your job, is there anything specifically that you would like to walk directly into?
If I could walk directly into entrepreneurship, I would. But that's not gonna happen, and I'm a realist more than anything. So right now I'm just making a lateral plus a jump. So I want to move to another consulting firm, but at a higher level.
So you want to be comfortable, like financially stable.
Exactly.
You don't believe in like stepping out on faith. And
Oh no,
doing
I will.
I will
because
but faith and finances are two different things.
Right.
And when you say comfortable, I don't think you ever can be comfortable financially, but I think one of the biggest things I see happen with people who choose an entrepreneur's life is that when you choose to go into business, you're not only still having to maintain your household, you're basically taking on a whole nother household as well.
Absolutely.
And so for you to walk away from any form of income just to sustain two households, that's backwards thinking.
Exactly.
And I always see people do that, and it's like, hey, step out on faith. Faith and being a fool doesn't equate to one another. So unless you have proper funding for that business, or you have sustained that business on the side long enough that it generates enough money to carry both, you should be very mindful of the method that you choose to go into business.
Right.
Because business needs, it has costs, it has overhead, and it needs money. It's like having a child almost, So I always tell people, be cautious with the idea, not telling them not to go out there and tackle it, but the method in which you choose to do it will also decide how long you're able to sustain doing. Like, you don't want to quit your job and be balls to the wall, and then 6 months you back looking for a job because you never had anything properly planned out.
Exactly.
Because now you just look like the person who never should have left.
Right.
You don't want to be that person.
Regardless of how much of a cushion you have. Like, eventually that cushion runs
it
out.
goes. Yeah. It goes.
And I definitely don't want to be that type of person.
Right.
Like, I have things that I can fall back on, but I want to make sure that I'm putting myself and my business partner in a position to where when we do get ready to take off with it, we can keep moving.
And test it,
Right,
I
exactly.
think one of the biggest things people don't know about these major companies they see come up is that there's a whole nother world they play in. These people go and they actually have companies who just sit around all day and invest money in the smaller businesses. So they have funding. It's almost like crowdfunding, so that's where they get this money from. They present it to a group of people. They say, okay, we're willing to give you $20 million. You know, it sounds like the great next app or something like that. These people are not just in their garage with no jobs and functioning. You know, they get starter money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, always make sure you have a financial plan, because your faith and your finances are not the same thing. You know, God loves you, and he always promised to take care of you, but part of him taking care of you is probably you having that job.
Yeah, you gotta work. Faith without work is dead.
Right. It's a participate. You know, you have to participate. It's an action thing going on.
I kind of agree with that, but I also feel like if you don't step out on faith, you almost saying like you truly don't believe in God, like He not gonna take care of you.
No, but why do you believe? Okay, I look at it, I'll put it to you this way. What is faith to you? Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that faith essentially exists? Because you have some type of founding information of that, right? You have like either some biblical parables, you have the gospel, you have your own experiences, right? It's the same thing with stepping out and doing a business. You don't just jump out there and say, hey, I'm in the air. No, like you have to have something that tells you that it's the prop. Now maybe that gap you need to close one day. Let's say that last leap you need to make, where like for me, I was making more money outside of work than I was at work. So now you have a decision to make.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can capitalize and take these 40 hours and contribute them to your business and hopefully make more money, or you can stay here and do both. That's when faith kicks in. Faith is like that last kicker.
Right. But there's also steps to it.
Right.
There's
I'm not
steps
walking
to
on
it.
my job and I got $5 and it's like I got a business.
Right.
You know, how much?
But like if you have a business idea and you want to kick off that business, faith is even making that first step. It's saying, you know, I'm gonna actually start. I'm making progress to even doing it, and then you make another leap in faith to say, you know, I'm gonna put more time into it. I'm gonna put more money into it. Refocus.
Trusting God is saying. I think a lot of times people think it's just catch-all, where you just give everything up. No, sometimes it's ultimately saying that I trust the process. I trust that there is a manner to get to where I'm ultimately destined to go. But there's a road to travel. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm not going to be there tomorrow, and I get that. But I trust you enough that wherever I got to go concerning it, you got me. You know, so like, I'm just saying. Like, so to the listeners out there, I support. Man, look, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19. I support it, but if I can go back and do it differently, I wouldn't, because I've learned so much. But I would say don't jump out that window until you have a proper plan and you've tested that plan. You know.
But I see people that work full time and they're starting their own business. They have a plan, but they still don't want to take that leap of faith because they're so complacent and comfortable with their job. And
well, that means they're not making no money. That's really what it's about. Like, how do you sustain the bills? How do you keep a household running? So that's not really the question. Isn't necessarily whether or not they believe in their business. Really what they're telling you is that they're not making enough money to walk away from whatever they got going on. You know, like nobody really tells the background story, but you gotta be reasonable enough to know that, hey, the lights still need to be paid. You know what I'm saying? I just recently invested in a young lady's business. I won't go too deep into it, but she was one of the first things came out of her mouth. I don't know if I should get a building. I said, look, you ain't made $1. Like, you're not a building. You haven't earned a building.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Work this thing from your house.
What? Look, we could pop-up shopping until you get to where people know what's going on. And so that's my thing with entrepreneurship. Like, unless you are selling yourself, unless you are the market for what you're doing, it's best to test it and see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's different people coming on different levels. You know, you may have $2. There's somebody sitting across from you who actually went through the process, who's sitting on 40, and they ready to outlast you. You know what I mean? So I wish you luck in your endeavor with that.
I can agree with that.
How long do you think it's gonna take you? We're gonna put you on the clock. What we looking at?
Well, we're looking to launch in August.
Okay.
In August. So we looking. You already got a name?
Yes.
Don't say it. You know.
So what are we launching in August?
It's a clothing line.
The clothing line. Okay.
Clothing. Nah, that's a saturated market right now. How do you look to stand out?
You'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah,
she don't want to get too much detail.
Talking about professional clothing. I always say black folks need to start because I just started learning how to tie a tie 3 years ago. Like, so I would love for somebody to start like a little shirt company or more with the button downs or something. But it's gonna be more what type of clothing.
It's business and streetwear, so we're doing the best of both worlds.
Is it another female?
It's for our people.
It's another female you with?
No, it's a guy.
It's a guy. I got $4 if you need it. Just let me know.
That's cool.
Can make it it can make it far. You know what I'm saying?
So, with you about to launch your own business in August, what do you see as your greatest challenge or your greatest obstacle right now?
Capital.
Yeah. It's always capital.
It's always capital.
I think it's remaining original and staying ahead of the curve, because right now we're in a situation where everybody is, I want to be so Black power, and that market is starting to be saturated. But at the same time, we've put a twist on it to where I think our customers and the people that we market to is gonna reach.
As long as you're the source, I don't think you can ever lose at it.
Yeah,
it's like with me, you know what I'm saying? I don't trip about everybody being all woke and stuff, but at the end of the day, those who know, they know what it is. I don't really trip about it, but I like to see it saturated. I'm glad people finally proud to be Black.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just understand, like with everything, is a process. Some of us been Black a lot longer.
Right.
If you want to be honest about it, you know what I'm saying? But like, I want to get into something. We was talking about faith, So what's your beliefs like?
I believe in God.
I seen that you wrote that, and then I also met you, and I seen, like the necklace you wear.
Yeah.
So when you say believe in God, let's touch on that for maybe a second.
So growing up, I wasn't raised in the church, so I'm one of the people who, I've never read the Bible from cover to cover.
Gotcha. I don't think even people in the church are read it.
No, they don't. They wait for the pastor to.
I don't even think most pastors have read it. But go ahead.
Right. So my mom. Lord, my mom was
people
raised
pick
in
their
the
favorite
church.
books of the Bible.
Exactly, and pick that apart even more.
Right.
But my mom grew up in the church. She was forced to go to church, and she didn't want that same thing for her children. So she was just like, decide for yourself. Research for yourself, and that's pretty much what sparked my interest. So it started in high school to say, I want to go to church. My friends was like, come to church with me. So started going to church with them, but sitting inside of a church, I've never had that connection. I've never been one to catch the Holy Ghost or feel like the pastor was talking directly to me. It's always been a disconnect, and as I grew and as I started to do more research, that disconnect grew. So being in corrupt churches, and when I first started, I put church people on pedestals, not realizing that they're human.
Part of
and that was part of the demise of me going to church, is going to church where pastors are sleeping with other members of the church, and you got 5 kids and she got 5 kids, and y'all cheating. What is this?
And so in other words, you're saying that the lack of displayed faith from others kind of discouraged your own.
It did. And it not only discouraged it, but it pushed me away to say, maybe you should do a little more research, look into it for yourself, and find your way on your own, like your mother has always been telling you to.
So where's that road bring you now? I mean, what is it a book that you subscribe to in any juncture, or do you think that it's just more of you're piecing it together as you go?
Yeah, I'm still piecing it together. So it's not necessarily a book that I look to or a person to look to. It's just that feeling inside of me,
that spirit, and you have that spirit.
It's hard for me to say, there's no God,
right?
Because one thing that I do is travel. So being on a plane, this heavy ass piece of material is able to sustain itself in the sky with nothing supporting it.
Right.
There has to be a God.
Yeah.
We, as living people, the organs in our body, the way that they connect with each other, the way the animals.
Yeah, your ass could be on your head.
Right.
You could be shit like this.
Right.
Your head in the toilet,
But the way that things are, is kind of like
it's hard to deny that there's an orchestra.
That something someone created this.
I'm gonna tell you this. You're my homie. Maybe I was the complete opposite. I was raised in the church. That was kind of founded by my family, so I look at it slightly different. But I would encourage you 2 things when it comes to your faith in people. One thing is, if you ever step foot in the church, you go to focus on God, not other people.
Right.
Those people are just as sick as you. You know what I'm saying? And the second thing I would tell you, read the 13 letters of Paul. Paul, the Apostle Paul, was converted, on his way to Damascus, and he wrote these 13 letters. And in the 13 letters, the reason why I encourage you to read them is because he spoke to the very things you're speaking to. He said that some people were going to profit from the word of God, that some people was going to misuse it, for their own vanity gain and stuff like that. So I just want you to know there's a separation between actual believers who have relationships with God and those who just know the Bible from either being around it or knowing it in a vain way. Like there's a separation in that, and I just want you to know that there is another side you can walk into. Yeah, that's not the end all be all, and that's sad now because now it's becoming like the popular thing. Yeah. I always talk to people when they tell me about their faith, man, and I be chilling. I don't really look to move anybody from where they are because you don't want to cause anyone to stumble. But sometimes I just like, it's life beyond that. Right. Like the world into the church instead of the church actually transforming the world. And that's why we in a sad position that we in, but I encourage you to keep that walk going.
I will. I mean, there's no reason to stop.
Mercy and love, man. Yeah. It'll get you home. Yeah. Let's just get home safely. I tell you all the time, let's just get home safely. You know what I'm saying? Okay, speaking of books, any books you suggest to our listeners that you've read that you thought were like dope books, because you ain't read the Bible yet.
Right. 3 books that...
I'm going to get you a study Bible. Can I get you a study Bible? It's just a book. If you don't believe in it, it's just a book, right?
True.
Right. So can I just get you a book?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I accept gifts.
That's how you get them. That's how you reel them in.
So 3 books that I've read that's been really beneficial to me. One is Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay. I just finished reading it actually.
You liked it too?
It was a good book.
It was. It gave me a different perspective on life. Like having, because I feel like I've been in that situation because I was raised by 2 fathers. I had that rich dad and I had that poor dad. So there's
you have
different.
A stepfather.
Yes.
Is he still your current stepfather?
Yes, and that's who I consider to be my
your
father.
I got you.
Yeah. So being in that situation, I've learned the best of both worlds. I know that finance, but I also know that street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You be thugging Shay?
Just a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. Depends on what's going on that day.
Huh? Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past you. You always been kind of edgy.
I accept that. I take that. The second book would be The New Jim Crow.
The New Jim Crow.
Yeah,
wow.
that really opened up my eyes because I was one of those type of people that said, regardless of what situation you're in, you can always better it.
Yeah.
And I've always, well, not always, but in my earlier years, not to age myself by saying that, but growing up with an affluent family, it gave me kind of a different perspective on life to say, you have choices in life, and the choices that you make are going to determine your outcome. And I've had arguments with people to say, sometimes drug dealing is the only thing that you can fall back on. And I disagreed. I was like, no, like you can do legit things and make money. But then looking at reading The New Jim Crow, it's kind of like, damn,
you don't.
Some people don't. Like,
it's dope. It's dope that people are coming to knowledge about that. I think one of the things I've always struggled with is the environment I come from, the way people perceive it to be. Yeah. And everybody just has opportunity. And all you have to do is work hard enough or just get an education. Exactly. But for most people, and I'm going to keep it honest, that's not even an option. Yeah. How can you think about educating yourself when you're not going to eat this evening?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and when you have a system that has been set up for you to fail. Yeah. And I think when people look at the hood, oftentimes the first thing come to their mind is like drug dealing. It's various industries in the hood. There's jack boys. There's burglaries. In other words, what I'm saying, there's a lot for you to get into. Right. It has its own economic system and stuff like that. So overcoming a lot of those pitfalls, man, it's a thin rope, a thin line that you walk. So I'm glad, especially now that black people are starting to look at other black people and not be like, well, you just chose not to do better. Exactly. That you realize you just was one of the fortunate ones that your family found a way out sooner. Right. You know what I mean?
And the New Jim Crow opened my eyes to that, to definitely. Say, this is our reality.
Oh, definitely.
And this is what happened to our people. So Because it wasn't taught in schools. That's not something that's taught in schools at all.
And then my word to those who are black and affluent, it only takes one police stop for your whole world.
Right.
You know what I mean? For you to be reminded that you're not viewed any different. You know, in that courtroom, it only takes one banging of the gavel for your family whole reality to shift. You know what I mean? So,
and you know, growing up in Magnolia and being exposed to racism, you would think like I would have a bit of a better understanding of the things that we can be exposed to. But at the same time, when I was that young, it was kind of like, oh, they're just racist white people, and this is only in Magnolia. This stuff doesn't really happen too many areas outside of you know, the southern
and then you grow up and realize that the entire system has been predicated on the same thought.
Like, the shit blew my mind to learn about like mass incarceration and different things like that, and how it transformed from slavery to mass incarceration.
Yo, even I'm gonna kick this to you, and I haven't discussed this with anybody, but I'll put it on this podcast with you. Mark is the only person I've ever told about this, and this may change your mind when you go home about the way you're gonna look at starting your business. When you go to work every day, I'm going to take it even further. It's not just mass incarceration. The current minimum wage rate is like $7.25, right? So basically what you're telling people is that you are living on a plantation. But instead of you staying in the back of the plantation like you once did, now you think you're free to go home to something. But you just make enough money to sustain your outhouse, basically. You know what I mean? And it's the reality for all of us in the sense, like, capitalism is slavery. That was the basis of slavery. People get so caught up in whippings and the beatings, they forget that capitalism, the rawest form of capitalism, is slavery. That you make a lot of money and don't pay nobody anything. So now they just pay us enough to maintain our slave quarters. You get what I'm saying to you? Some people's slave quarters look a little different than other people's slave quarters. But ultimately, you're still paying money to the person who owns the grocery store, owns the electric company. All of these people are in bed together. So they just pay you enough to maintain your slave quarters. And that's why it's not just going to jail. It's everyday life. Like, when I woke up and I'm like, I need to do something with these 40 hours, it was kind of like, how long are you going to allow yourself to be underpaid for your value, but also contribute to your own oppression? Because the more money you pump into what they got going on, the less somebody else is going to have opportunity if you don't create them. Exactly. You know what I mean? So I just tell people to look at it in a manner. It's not just mass incarceration, man. It's everything. Like, they just pay you enough to maintain your slave quarters. You know, we all contributing to the same machine.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So they hide behind the mass incarceration because that looks the most definite like slavery. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And
but
eventually,
you on your job,
people,
you know those moments.
Eventually people will start to wake up to that same. Because I call corporate America a slave ship in its own.
Oh, definitely. It makes people feel free because now, you know, when you're not at work, you may have a little more extra money to go see a game or travel a little bit. You know, but ultimately you have to go back and make that money again just to keep doing those things. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's
never felt free.
And we gotta learn what old money is. You know, get to the point where your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, they got options like, hey, I ain't even interested in going to college. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know? Exactly. So, but college is not our way to get up. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I wish a lot more people will push. Like, you know, education is all fine and dandy, but that's another stipulation that they've put on us to make us feel like, you know, you have to have this in order to move up in the world. But in our reality, it's like you don't. And crazy enough, my stepfather/father showed me that he didn't graduate from high school. He barely made it out of junior high, but he also made six figures. Right, makes six figures, and that was based off of the people surrounding him.
Information, and that's what it's all about. And I don't think people are teaching us like entrepreneurship. We're not learning that in the black community
because we ain't got no businesses.
We don't have no businesses, and that's why we're not building wealth, like generational wealth. We're not left there.
That's another difference in realizing what wealth is and realizing what being rich is. Because we look at, you know, making it as, oh, I got stacks in my bank account, and that's not our reality at all. That's not wealth.
It's just a mindset.
That's just you got money.
Yeah. I remember when
if it's just sitting in your bank account, to be honest, it's not really doing the most beneficial thing for you.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, I remember when I took a business class at Prairie View, they were teaching me how to go into corporate America and how to behave and what I should do to get the job.
Yeah.
And I studied abroad at a white school for a year. When I took a business class there, they were teaching me how to run the company, how to be the boss, step into CEO position. So it's just the mindset.
It's what you teach.
It's what you teach.
Oh, definitely. Everything is all mean. You know, the Jesus guy that everybody don't like right now, you know, Yeshua, he said you perish for your lack of knowledge. You know, and basically what he's saying is that most of your problems are self-created because you don't know any better.
Yeah.
But if you know, you have not because you ask not.
Yeah.
You know, we've grown comfortable with certain standards that we've allowed to be set. So we're about to get out of here in a minute, but like, let's say 2 years from now, where is Shay? What is Shay doing? And how is Shay helping us to continue to no longer be black in silence, you know?
I would say I'm building.
You're
continuously building, continuously learning, growing. Probably still working in that corporate America job.
There's no issue with that. There's no issue with that.
Not at all. Not
treat
at
it.
all.
I would tell you, treat it like a hustle.
Oh, it is. It's just
Treat it
one of
like
the
a
many.
hustle.
One of the many.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hopefully y'all see that clothing line. Well, no, hopefully.
Hopefully we are gonna see
existence.
it.
You will see
and
that
hopefully she
clothing
let me
line.
put my $4 up. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
You got me. All I want
Yeah.
is 0.0012%.
I got you.
She gonna start
Yeah.
sending
But yeah, just
Song.